bezel to the radio. It looks like a microphone right there. And the radio, I started to pull it out, but yeah, right now, I mean, the radio doesn't work. The cassette player works though. Very gently. All right, so I pulled this radio out before, but it's weird. It's like I can't unplug it from the back of the radio because it's just not like a simple kind of a plug like the new radio has, you know? It's not like, I don't know, like the plugs I feel like kind of down inside of there. And I'm pretty much learning with you guys because I have no idea what in the world I'm doing or any of these wires mean. I mean, dang. So I'm just gonna start unplugging this stuff, I guess. And then we got these two unplugged. Actually, I'm sorry. These two unplugged from that. This, I believe, was already unplugged. Yeah, these weren't plugged in anything to begin with. I'm guessing these are like for the sub or something, right? Probably, who knows? I don't know, man. I'm learning with y'all. Shoot, but we're gonna get this done one way or another. And there's still that mess that goes into here that we're also working on unplugging now. So I found it's actually a lot easier instead of like trying to find, you know, each and every single one of these plugs to disconnect. You can have some of these. I'm just kidding. I just need to cut this zip tie. Stuff like this where the wires, like the colors are different, I'm just gonna mark like, you know, 4 lines or whatever. 4 lines here, 4 lines there. So worst case scenario, I know where I got everything from. Like this wire, I see it coming out back here. It's the only red one left over here. I pulled most of the rest. And I think this one goes up into the car. Okay, so that's actually pretty crazy to me. I know some of y'all are watching this like knowing exactly what each one of these does, but first for me. All right, let's work on, I don't know if I can run the new radio with this guy, because these are both Alpine. The equalizer and the radio. And that's just the switch to bring the antenna up and down. So I didn't video me removing the actual equalizer, but it was just 2 screws here, 2 screws here, and it falls right down. And working on undoing some of this wiring here so we can get everything out, clean up what wires we're looking at, see which speakers colors are what wires, and just get a better idea of, you know, what we need to do so we can create a new wiring harness. Okay, so it's actually looking a little better, even though it might not look like it. But we got the radio and equalizer out, and it's kind of, yeah, it's a lot easier to actually see what we have. Like, you know, these wires down here, some of them are actually labeled left front, right front, left rear, right rear. And then one of these is gonna be our ignition. I don't think it was hooked up before because this was just loose and I could turn it on without sticking the key in the actual ignition here. So, I mean, I guess we'll fix that now, right? Yeah, see, ignition. But yeah. Okay, I'm gonna educate myself a little bit by reading this, and then I'll get back to you guys. Okay, so it gives you these diagrams that shows, you know, which plug and which individual actual port here does what. These are the 4 speakers. It just shows positive, negative. So these are all for the 4 speakers around the car. And that is going to be this top bracket, or the middle one, that orangish brown one. That's for the speakers. B. And then A is that bottom one, which is for like the ignition, mic, and all that stuff. Okay, and this is the old antenna cable that plugged into that radio. And yeah, you can see somebody electric taped it together. And I kind of followed this wire up. It comes up here. You can see it here. Almost positive it goes up to the antenna. I mean, I don't know what else this thing could be. Unless if I'm wrong, but I guess we're gonna find out when we wire it all together. So this is the plug that hooked up to the equalizer. And luckily these are labeled what speaker's what. So we're just gonna take note of that and then go ahead and disconnect all of these. So we're gonna directly hook up these speaker cables to this harness here, to the speaker harness, which is just gonna be this one right here. And just directly hook them up, I guess. And make sure you label which wires go to which speakers. So like these 2 are the positive and negative for the left front, and so on. Squeeze it nice and tight, and let's give it a little pull. Stays pretty tight. So we got the Christmas lights all installed. Let's go ahead and crimp it all together according to this diagram right here. That's what we're following. Take note of the positive and negative. Usually the positive is going to be indicated by this here red with the brown. That should be the positive. And then this cable with this kit actually has a little plus sign on it. Okay, that looks pretty good. Gently pull these cables through like I have. And we have enough length, which is really good. Actually, it's perfect. Okay, so we're looking really good right now. The red and yellow, the red with the yellow stripe wire coming out of the car goes into that little black harness thing there. That is gonna be the memory or ignition. It actually says memory on the radio coming from the wire. And then the red with the blue stripe coming from the car, that's the 12 volts. So that's gonna power the radio, and you tie that into the red wire coming from the radio. And well, you already know the diagram for all that. Really, we're just figuring out what those wires go to the, you know, to the wires in the actual car. And then the brown was the ground, so the black wire from the radio harness ties to that. And the blue was the antenna remote. So that's not your actual radio signal. That's just to power that antenna right there up and down. So, and I tested that. That plugs into this guy right here. It's actually a white wire. And I just crimped it. I had this extra piece that I got from the old radio. I crimped it together just so it's a little cleaner like that, so I can plug and unplug it. But the only problem is right now, when the radio's on, it goes up, regardless of whether I'm listening to the radio, aux, Bluetooth, whatever. So we're gonna cut it or whatever, put a switch in like before, probably stick it in right here, so I can control when that antenna goes up and down. And as far as what I was saying earlier about the actual radio, like the antenna signal, that's the antenna cable right there. This is that existing bracket, and this is the switch that we had initially. And we're just gonna remount it where we had it before to raise and lower the antenna, but it's looking a little nasty. I'm sure we could clean this up. So let's go ahead and hit this with the wire brush and a little coat of paint. All right, so I'm gonna be explaining this. We got our switch on and off to control the antenna from going up and down. And I went ahead and got these two prepped. And pretty much gonna be connecting them to these two. So really just making a one big circuit, if that makes sense. See, if I straighten these out, just think of this as one. Act like these wires aren't so long. I mean, really just one thing. And we're just gonna connect, it doesn't really matter which end goes where. Connect one here, like that, to the antenna wire, and the other one to the blue one coming out of the radio like that. So when these are connected, we can create a break in the circuit right here with this switch. That's all we're doing. So, before I tie them together, it make a lot of sense for me to go ahead and do this wiring. So, I'm going to be locating my switch over here because it's a nice location. It'll be easy to run the wire, and that's where the equalizer was before. So let's just run the wires around and have them come out over here. And the way these crimping tools work is you just insert it on one end like this, okay? And then you find your other wire and you spiral it thin, and you'll see where the metal is actually inside. So you want to actually crimp it down, knowing that you're getting a pretty good bite on the wire. Otherwise, it'll come undone. And on these, I'm gonna be using this little piece right here to crimp it. That point right there. One side done. Other side done. Give her a tug like that. She's sturdy. And we do the same for here. But see over here, I have I got this guy right here. So I'm thinking I might just crimp these two together, and that way I just have like a clean plug and unplug. That way I don't have to cut the original antenna wire. But does it really matter? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't think it really matters either way. Okay, so I just turned the radio on. We got our switch. Okay, so you see, so y'all can see over here on the camera, it's right there, the antenna. Let's flip the switch. Let's flip the switch. Yep, it's starting to go down. Meow. Oh. Let's give her another boner. Meow. All right, so it worked. Also, do not forget to hook up your microphone. Almost forgot about that, doing all the confusing stuff. So the port for that is going to be this top one, the top middle. And I find a suitable spot for my microphone to be right over here. I like that. I went ahead and unplugged this radio just so that we could work a little easier. And I'm really disappointed in myself. It took me this long to figure out that this right here just plugs in. This whole damn time my ass has been trying to plug that in. I'm sorry for my language. Trying to plug in this thing into the back of this, wondering why it won't fit. But all it is as simple as that. Watch this. Boom. Look at that. Man. Anyways, that's figured out. And we are officially done. Oh yeah, that's that antenna cable, by the way. You can see I've tied it together like this. I'm gonna secure this very nicely. What did I say? Alright, so that'll sit in there just like that. It goes in there just like that. And bam, look at that, man. That's awesome. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. Just remember that. Turn the radio on. Let's see it from there. And it stays on even with the key turned all the way off. Just don't take it out. When you take the key out, it will turn off. And I installed the microphone and the antenna switch to raise it up and down as follows. And it looks super clean. All the wiring kind of goes down here, out of the way. Overall, very nice. This is just an aux cable I had. It doesn't come with it, but you can plug it into your phone or however you like. So let's go ahead and turn it on and show y'all how it works. So what's pretty cool is I can stick the key in the ignition without turning it and then just press it and it'll turn on. So I don't even have to turn the ignition on. Like, everything else is off in the car. And right now it's on Bluetooth. It's super easy to connect to Bluetooth. Instructions are in the manual. And got radio. So there's our antenna. And when we flip our switch, and I already tested out this here microphone. Tested it out by calling my mom, and yeah, she says it's pretty clear audio on her end, and you can hang up and answer phone calls if you're driving and you're connected to Bluetooth, or if you have it through aux, you can press those buttons. And then we have our USB, which I found, I plugged in my phone to it. It doesn't charge my phone. Like, it detects that I connected my phone, but it doesn't charge it. So I think that's just for like, and I tried playing music through the USB too. That doesn't work. So I think that's just for like if you put in a USB stick or something, but I don't know. I'm not too worried about that feature. I really just need AM, FM radio, Bluetooth, and aux. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's enough for me. So yeah, we're looking pretty good. Comment down below if you have any questions, comments. If you think it's ugly, just leave me a comment.